Hi everyone, it's been a while. I believe my last post was in September. The reason why I've been away would require a long explanation, so that's for another video. What I would like to talk about today is the need to take care of ourselves in the current situation, and I mean by that the international situation at the moment. I don't know if you're like me and if you feel worried by it. I know I am, and I've been struggling, to be honest. So in troubled times like the ones that we're going through at the moment, I do believe it's especially important to look after ourselves. I mean, everyone should look after themselves, but I think it's especially true of people like us who have a degenerative condition, because times like these generate anxiety and stress, and most studies out there demonstrate and show that stress is a big culprit when it comes to certain diseases because of the inflammation it causes. I'm sure it will come as no surprise to you if I tell you that macular degeneration is oftentimes believed to be a result of inflammation. So even though stress might not be the sole cause of macular degeneration, I do believe it plays a big part in it. I have done a video previously about how to cope with vision loss and what you can do to take care of your mental health and everything. But I believe, because of the current times, that I could do an update to that video. So taking care of ourselves in these times, troubled times, requires, I think, a few things. And I think one of the most obvious to me at the moment is to be mindful of the content that we consume. I have been guilty myself of watching too many videos. It's so easy to, doom scrolling, especially on YouTube, about social analysis, political analysis, economical analysis, you name it. And while it is important to stay informed in this day and age, it is equally important to set a limit to what we consume. And to that effect, I think it's very important to limit the amount of stuff you watch online. I've noticed myself, falling down the YouTube rabbit hole very easily and coming out not feeling better for it, actually feeling worse for it, due to the amount of videos that are available, and that amount keeps growing each day. It is essential, I think, to consciously put a limit, in the sense that a limit will be different for everyone, for sure, but it will be ideally something that gets to the point, gets you informed, and that's it. You move on and you don't worry about it until the next day. You don't worry about consuming that kind of content till the next day, for example. It could be, depending, I think it's also important to know your limit. I know that consuming those videos every day for me is probably too much. So I'm going to play with that limit and see if I can do every other day, and decide that I'm going to watch, say, one video that informs me about the state of the world, and that will be it for, say, 24, 48 hours. I'm still playing with that limit at the moment, and we'll see what it does for me, if I can find that sweet spot where I feel that I'm reasonably informed of what is going on, whilst also taking care of my mental well-being. Another thing as well, instead of watching YouTube videos that might go on and on about the state of the world, try and listen to music instead. Find some musical videos, there's tons of them on YouTube, and just enjoy listening to music. And I would recommend, obviously any kind of music is good, but I would recommend a dose of say deep music, in the sense that, I was gonna say spiritual, but I don't, that's too strong a word. I'm more thinking of music such as, world music, for example. Indian music is great. I love Indian music, and there's a ton of it on YouTube. Just stick it on YouTube, headphones on if you want. It's extremely soothing. Anything, or nature sounds as well, I find really really good. I feel it in my body. It's like it melts the stress away. It's incredible. Again, loads of those on YouTube, for example, Spotify. If you don't have them in a music library already, make sure, because these days AI is getting very good at making music. I would recommend to listen to real music played by humans with real instruments. Otherwise, there's unfortunately no soul in it, and it is the soulful part of music that is good for you and for your mental well-being. So make sure that you're not listening to AI generated music, because it's not as good. But I think you can feel it. You can feel it deeply. I mean, I know AI music these days can be good in the sense that it can pass for music, but once you've listened to it for a few minutes, I know that's my experience in any case, you're like, no, that's not working. Next. So yeah, so human generated music is good for the soul and for the mind. Okay, so that's about content consumption. Another thing that is, I think, very important is to be mindful of food consumption. I speak for myself when I am very prone to comfort eating, emotional eating. It's very easy for me to reach for a chocolate bar, or a packet of crisps, or whatever I fancy on the moment, when I feel down, when I feel worried, even when I feel bored, actually. So for me, that's probably one of the hardest things to do, is to try and regulate that urge to reach for the comfort that food provides, which is unfortunately only a fleeting comfort, and very short-lived. And also what you consume tends to be high in fat, high in sugar, high in salt, and very addictive, and therefore it triggers a release of hormones in your brain that makes you want more. So it becomes addictive. It's well studied, and it's a proven thing. There's no easy solution to that. Try to maybe experiment with foods that are not as high in calories or sugar content, salt content, whatever is your guilty pleasure. But that still gives you a level of satisfaction. For myself, I like things that are crunchy, so biscuits, cookies, but I find that if I replace that urge for a cookie with say a rice cake, plain rice cake, sometimes with a square or half a square of chocolate, I find the urge satisfied. And for me, that's a good compromise to go with. A good trick as well is to make sure you drink plenty. If you feel that you want to eat something, it's good to observe that feeling. Pause before you reach for that packet of whatever not so healthy food you feel like having, and just think, does my body really need that right now? And if the answer is no, try and reach for something else that is less unhealthy, or just simply have a glass of water or hot drinks. Hot drinks are so good in the sense that it's a bit of a ritual to prepare a hot drink, and focuses your mind on that. And I recommend being mindful of when you prepare the hot drink, and I'll come to mindfulness in a minute. But it also grounds you in the moment. You know, you have the hot drink in your hand, you feel the warmth, you know, in your hand, you drink it and you feel the warmth go down your throat into your stomach. So a hot drink is a very good way of deflecting the illusion of hunger, because a lot of the time when we feel hungry, more often than not, we're not hungry, we just want to eat, or we're thirsty. So it's important to keep those fluid levels up by hydrating well. One last point, and probably the most important, is to practice mindfulness in everything that you do. So be present in the moment in everything that you do. Bring yourself back to the moment if you find that your mind has been wandering. It doesn't solve everything, being present, but it helps, because when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling worried, it's very important to acknowledge your emotions. So recognize your emotions, don't sweep them under the rug, just be with your emotions, you know, face them. It might be fear, it might be worry, it might be sadness. Just face them, own them, and recognize that they will pass. And here I will quote George Harrison, "All things must pass." Try to be in the moment. Observe your emotions, observe your feelings, and know that it will pass. Another thing you can practice is forms of meditation are always good. I practice Vedic meditation, but there's all sorts that you can do. I would encourage you to look up online about those, because it helps enormously with your mental well-being. And also it will help with the observation of your emotions and your feelings, and ultimately it will be an incredible help to know more about yourself, your inner self. So I would definitely recommend meditation as a regular practice. I do it twice daily. It can be whatever you feel comfortable with or feel the need for. Another thing that can be good for being present in the moment is being creative with something. Mine is crafting. I do crochet, I do sewing, more crochet these days. But it could be drawing, it could be building something, it could be, I don't know, wood turning, pottery. Anything that has the potential to ground you in the moment is good. And I would really encourage something that is repetitive as well. Something that is repetitive, but not so repetitive that you can do it mindlessly. So repetition, which is why knitting, crocheting is good, because you repeat those stitches. Even if the stitch is easy, you have to be with the stitch as you make it. You have to be present with your craft if you want it be successful. Otherwise you might miss a stitch or something. Drawing is another one. Even if you can't draw, it's quite nice to, for example, grab a pen and do lines, but mindfully. The practice of Zentangle is really good for that, because you don't need to know how to draw, but you can make things that look really good, and therefore there's the added reward of doing something, of making something that looks beautiful. Going for walks is very important, I think, and daily in all kinds of weather is good, because you'll be out breathing fresh air, and also, and that's especially important if you suffer, if you have an eye condition, it will get you to be in the natural light. And there are more and more studies showing that being exposed to artificial light might be a factor for degenerative eye diseases, certainly a factor in development of myopia in children, as is, you know, screen time, etc. So make sure you go out as much as you can, as often as you can. If you like exercising, just go ahead, do exercising. I personally, I'm not much of a, you know, gym nut, but I love walking, and it's something that I've consciously taken up. It's been a year, yeah, it's been a year now that I've been going for regular walks. I didn't used to do that much. I would only go out to, you know, go get the kids from school. But now I have built up the habit of going for walks not very early in the morning, but reasonably early in the morning. As soon as the kids are dropped at school, I just go for a walk, longish, half an hour. And that compounds with the walk when I go pick up the kids in the afternoon. So that's what works for me, and it might be very different for you, but definitely try and find a physical activity that you can do daily, for, say, 10 minutes to half an hour, because it will help a lot. I think that about wraps it up in terms of advice on how to take care of yourselves in these difficult times. Let me know in the comments what you do. Are you struggling at the moment? What do you do to try and feel better? I would love to hear from you. Let me know, and in the meantime, take good care of yourselves. Bye bye.